Hey, welcome to The Explainer. We've got an absolutely incredible story for you today. It's all about learning, a little bit of technology, and the amazing, almost untapped power of the human brain. So let's just start with a question, one that, a lot of parents, a lot of teachers have to deal with. When a kid is struggling, the system, it often looks for a label, right? A diagnosis. But what if that very label becomes the barrier instead of the solution? All right, let's make this real. I want you to picture a 12-year-old boy. The odds are just completely stacked against him. He's dealing with multiple disabilities, he's basically withdrawn from the world and school. Well, he's failing, falling further and further behind. No one, not even his own family, knew what to do. He was, for all intents and purposes, considered a lost cause. But that's not the end of the story. Not even close. That same kid, the one everyone gave up on, went on to graduate with an A in mechatronics from a German university. So how? How in the world do you get from point A to point B? How does that transformation happen? Well, that's the story we're going to unpack right now. The answer, really, it starts with one person, Heloisa Zalcberg. She's a biologist from Brazil who specializes in psychology and neurology. She's the one who looked at that boy and decided to fight for him. And her whole method is built on this really powerful, optimistic idea. Okay, so her whole philosophy, it boils down to this really simple but powerful idea. Labels are just limits. She argues that when we call a kid attention deficit or say they're bad at math, we're defining them by their struggle. She sees these things as temporary states, not who they are forever. For her, there is always a way forward. And look, this isn't just some feel-good, wishful thinking. Her whole method is actually grounded in some pretty solid science about a fundamental property of our brains. It's all about something called neuroplasticity. And if you haven't heard of it, it's a total game changer. It basically means your brain isn't set in stone. It's like plastic. It can be remolded. Throughout your entire life, your brain is physically rewiring itself based on your experiences, which means change is always possible. Okay, so if we know the brain can change, the million-dollar question is how? How do you actually trigger that change in a student who feels totally stuck? Well, Zalcberg found her answer in a pretty unexpected place. She came across this idea from Mitchell Resnick, who helped create the Scratch programming language. And the idea is just brilliant. Let's code to learn and not learn to code. The point isn't to make every kid a programmer. The point is to use the act of coding as a tool to learn, well, just about anything else. And that's when she found Scratch. You know, that visual programming platform where you snap colorful blocks together to make things happen? She realized, wait a minute, this is it. This is the perfect tool. Why? Because it's fun, it's visual, and, this is the most important part, she could use it to build a completely custom-made learning project for any kid built around their specific challenges and, crucially, their passions. All right, this is where it all clicks into place. The philosophy, the science, the tech. Let's see how it works in the real world with another amazing story, this time about a 6-year-old girl named Lorena. So meet Lorena. She's 6 years old, the school year is ending, and she's the only kid in her entire class who can't read. The school, they start suggesting clinical exams, thinking something must be wrong with her, but Zalcberg saw something else. The real problem wasn't a disorder, it was fear. Lorena was just terrified of getting it wrong, so much so that she wouldn't even try to put 2 letters together. So how did Zalcberg tackle this? Well, instead of focusing on the problem, she asked a totally different question. What does a 6-year-old girl love? Animals, colors, music? So she built a custom Scratch game just for Lorena. In the game, colorful letters would dance around, and when you clicked on them, they would join together. So Lorena wasn't just learning to join letters to make words, she was learning that joining code blocks makes fun stuff happen on screen. She was literally connecting the abstract idea of reading to the physical action of creating. So, the big reveal. How long do you think this took? A whole school year? Months of tutoring? Nope. 1 month. That's it. In just 1 month of playing this game that was designed just for her, Lorena was fully literate. She passed the school year. The fear was totally gone, and in its place was the confidence of someone who had built her own solution. These stories, Lorena's and the boy who ended up in Germany, they're just perfect examples of how powerful this approach is. So let's pull back and look at the big picture here. What's the real takeaway? When you really break it down, what we're seeing here is a massive shift in thinking. The old way sees a problem in the child and tries to apply some one-size-fits-all fix. The student just sits there and receives it. But Zalcberg's approach?
It starts with what the kid loves, their interests. It uses that to build a custom tool, and it turns the student into an active creator. They aren't being fixed, they're building their own way forward.
And that really leaves us with a huge question, doesn't it? This whole thing, it's not really just about coding or just about reading. It's about a whole new way of thinking about learning itself. It kind of proves that maybe some of our biggest learning challenges don't need a clinical label. They just need a creative, personal, and empowering solution. And it just makes you wonder, what else is possible?